Hey guys, Dave the Station here. I'm going to show you guys my night vision setup and a few things you should consider before you purchase a night optic device. Alright, so as you guys saw, I am running a PVS 14. This has an Omni 7 Generation 3 tube from TNVC. The housing itself was made made by a buddy of mine. He built it. He works in the night vision industry and was able to get me a pretty good deal on it. It takes AA batteries, it's got manual gain, and then I run a Wilcox amber filter on the rear. It helps with splashback, as well as I made a little paracord lanyard for my day cap. I run just a standard Neurotos J-arm on there, and a Neurotos Rhino mount as well. The Rhino mount allows it to flip up and out of the way when it's not in use, and it allows for adjustability, as far as the eye relief where you want the optic placed on your in relation to your face. I also have a ballistic fast helmet. It's just got a standard 3-hole shroud up front. It's got some Velcro. I chose to run a infrared flag on the right side of my helmet. It just aids in identifying me. It's easier to pick up with night vision on. And on the back I have a TNVC Mohawk. This is one of the best counterweights out on the market today. It's got extra storage for batteries. I carry extra batteries for my day optic, my nods, as well as my IR laser that I use in my weapon. It also has some weights in the back that are, they're pretty flexible, a little hard to get out, but you can bend them so it conforms to the shape of the helmet, and it helps reduce the profile of the counterweight. Counterweights are super important when it comes to night vision because while about 2.5 pounds doesn't seem like a lot, when you have that out in front of your face, between the optic and the mounts and stuff, it really starts to strain on your neck. You're going to get tired really quickly if you don't run a counterweight. The counterweights are just weight at the back of the helmet to help change the center balance a little bit farther back to help your neck from fatiguing too fast. I've got arc rails, and I have the ability to run MS-2000 or other infrared strobes up top with a little shock cord bungee on the end there, and then I can run some patches if I want to as well. I chose to run a ballistic helmet versus something like a bump helmet. Bump helmets are made out of plastic or polymer. They're a lot more lightweight, they're a lot cheaper, and they still offer you pretty good protection. They come in around like $50 to $100. You can get a pretty good one. There is one kind of flaw with bump helmets, and that is the shroud is typically molded into the helmet itself. So if you end up breaking or chipping that shroud, you have to replace the whole helmet instead of just replacing the shroud. But I chose to run a ballistic helmet because it suits my needs the best. So I mostly just use my night vision for some recreational shooting at night. I take some tactical classes every now and then I go hog hunting a few times a year as well. And I chose ballistic helmets because I like having a little bit more protection, especially with, in classes or out hunting. There's some other guys out there with guns, and it's dark. So anytime there's limited visibility, the chances of there being an accident increases. So I like having the peace of mind that I've got a little bit more protection if I, in the dark. But that's my basic setup. What's going to work for you isn't going to work for me, and vice versa, right? You really got to think about what your needs are. So if you just want to go hog hunting or shoot some coyotes, and that's the only thing you want to do with night vision, Generation 2 scope, for like $300 to $600 is going to suit your needs perfectly. You're not going to have any issues with it. The clarity is going to be good enough for you. Light transmission is going to be awesome. Especially when you're shooting, probably out to 150 yards at the most. Now, if you want to start running into, a more tactical setup or something where you need to shoot and move, that's not going to do you too good because if you're running in a class or with other people, the only way you're going to be able to see at night is if you got your weapon up and you're pointing it around to see what you're looking at. So keep that in mind, but there's tons of different devices out there, right? There's handheld binoculars, there's scopes, there's cameras, I don't know, there's head-mounted, weapon-mounted, you know, like I said, there's tons of options out there. You got to figure out what your uses are before you figure out what you need. Right, so once you got that kind of figured out, you know, within each, I guess, device, there's different classes really. So they're generations of the tube, which allows, you know, the greatest light amplification. So Generation 2 are kind of entry level, you know, real basic setups. They're gonna, you know, allow you to see in the dark. However, it's not going to be quite as clear, and you're not going to see quite as far in darkness. Once you get into Generation 2 Plus and Generation 3, that's kind of where, you know, you get into a little bit higher end stuff. It's where the most, you know, or I guess where a duty use setup could come into play, right? You know, within everything, within night vision especially though, there's different classes to it, right? So there can be some low end stuff and high end stuff. So, you know, a low end Generation 3 tube is probably not going to perform quite as well as a really high end Generation 2 Plus. But the only way to really figure that out is to get your hands on a few devices and figure out, you know, the differences and the limitations and capabilities of each optic. But, you know, night vision has quite a few uses. You know, for civilians, right? You can use it for hunting. You can use it for, you know, like me, for recreational shooting. You know, stargazing through optic or night vision is super cool. You can see a lot more stars just because the really faint light is amplified by the night optic device. Photography, videography, and stuff. It can add a whole new level of what you can see, you know, at nighttime, and then whatever. But if you go into like a more tactical or duty use, military law enforcement setting, you can really, you know, it's invaluable when you're going in for search and rescue, right? You can see a lot farther. You can potentially pick out a lot of off things or help people. And then it's also really nice for, you know, like law enforcement, right? If you're going in trying to, you know, find a suspect or find a person that's been hiding, and it's, you know, nighttime, or you're in a limited visibility situation, you know, having night vision on there can really help you out. For a tactical setting, you know, it's super awesome. You know, we all know lighting conditions change. You know, if you're entering a building, you know, power could cut out, lights go off, whatever. You know, and then the ability to flip it up if you don't need it and flip it down when you do is really awesome. It's super handy to have. Gives you a little bit of a tactical advantage. So, you know, kind of once you figure out what your uses are and what your needs are, you kind of got to break it down and what you can afford. So prices, you know, vary from, you know, a few $100s up to, you know, I think like 50,000 or whatever, right? So, you know, you got to find something that suits you. Like I said, Generation 2, you know, you're kind of thinking, you know, between $300 to $600 or $700. Generation 2 Plus kind of starts around that $2,000 range, maybe $2,200, and goes up to about $2,500, $2,600. Generation 3 is really gonna be from, like I said, you know, probably 28 to, you know, infinity. So definitely keep that in mind when you're starting to look for night vision. It's pretty expensive to get into. However, these tubes are designed to last quite a while. So, you know, a typical Generation 3 tube is probably going to last anywhere from 50 to 80,000 hours, and that's, you know, 50 to 80,000 hours of use, which, you know, translates to years and years and years of life for them. So past that, you know, I'm going to show you guys a little clip at the end here of, you know, me going outside and showing you what it looks like through a Generation 3 tube. Keep in mind that the clarity isn't going to translate 100% through my camera. It's not going to be, you know, perfectly in focus just because of the eye relief and stuff, as well as I've got the amber filter on the rear. So that does, it changes the you know, what you see to kind of a more yellowish, orangish tint rather than a you know, the traditional green. Alright, we are outside right now. It's nighttime, obviously. There's a couple street lamps off in that direction, and then the moon is right there. That's all you can see with the naked eye. Now, through the night vision, you can see a whole lot more. So, alright, looking up at the moon, super bright. You can't see a whole lot of stars, it's super cloudy out tonight, but you know, as you can see, you are pretty well able to, you know, discern the differences between the branches and the trees and, you know, the bushes and stuff over in that tree line. If you guys thought this video was helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you next time. Thank you very much.